Imagine yourself as an ambitious ruler with colossal shoes to fill, big guns, vast wealth, and towering aspirations. Now stop imagining and learn about the CAG Imperium, the largest empire ever known, boasting the grandest ships, the most powerful weapons, and a newly crowned emperor with unlimited authority following his father's death. Primus Randus the Eager ascended to the throne with an unquenchable thirst for conquest, launching a relentless campaign of war across the known galaxy. His victories were swift and decisive. The ancient powers of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Perseus, each possessing formidable fleets, all bowed to the unstoppable might of the CAG battle cruisers, surrendering to avoid catastrophic losses. When the CAG encountered a small, fragmented union of systems in Orion, Emperor Randus didn't even convene his council. Instead, he dispatched small strike groups to subjugate the mere hundreds of worlds governed by none other than humanity. But before diving into the events that followed, it's crucial to understand how warfare was typically conducted in the Milky Way. Opposing fleets would meet in open space, lining up in an honorable display of power, engaging in massive broadsides within visual range. This method minimized casualties and collateral damage, with battles often lasting only hours and wars mere days. It was considered more economical to become a vassal to a superior force than to lose precious dreadnoughts. Fleets clashed until one side was clearly disadvantaged, leading to a retreat for repairs. This cycle continued until the victorious fleet reached a significant system, forcing the losing fleet to fully surrender, typically marking the end of hostilities. These tactics, however, were not employed during First Contact but played a pivotal role in the CAG-human war. The galaxy had never witnessed a conflict lasting more than a year, and no military doctrine anticipated the horrors of prolonged war. Logistics were planned for minor skirmishes with minimal casualties. No species, not even those encountered during First Contact, was prepared for sustained conflict. The prevailing strategy among most species was simple: strike first, strike fast, and avoid being struck. Only those who could adapt thrived, and the tactics of galactic nations reflected this. Humanity, however, took a different approach from the start, as if forged to be perfect war machines. It didn't matter if a human was struck first or slow to act. Any species challenging humanity was doomed to fall. If struck, humans retaliated with overwhelming force, disregarding casualties and relentlessly seeking victory, sacrificing everything if necessary, until their enemy's ability to fight was utterly destroyed, leaving their empire in ruins. The moment the CAG Imperium decided to attack humanity, their fate was sealed. Humanity sacrificed every last ship in the Haven system to prevent the capture of Bastion, their stronghold. Under the banner of the United Nations of Man, the freedom-loving humans fought fiercely, determined to avoid subjugation at all costs. Though the small CAG subjugation fleet was annihilated, the cost was staggering. Over 1 million human lives were lost for each ship destroyed. I now present a recording of the most influential speech of all time, The Promise of Vengeance, delivered by then-President Julian Starman of the Free State of Bastion. When we look to the stars, humanity has always seen endless opportunity. After today's tragic events, only fear and uncertainty remain. When unknown vessels approached our bastion of liberty, we extended all the hospitality, generosity, and kindness humanity could offer. In return, we received a barrage of plasma as our diplomats approached visual range. Long-range communications intercepted only one message: do you submit? The answer was no. The CAG ships opened fire indiscriminately on Bastion, targeting civilians without mercy. Our brave defenders charged the enemy fleet repeatedly until all that remained were smoldering wrecks. Yet for every ship we destroyed, we lost millions more of our citizens, minus 99% of them civilians. Even as we fought in the void of space, their weapons continued to rain death upon the helpless on the planet's surface. Despite splitting their ships in two, they persisted. Their desperate cries of "do you submit?" met with our gunfire. To all who can hear this, Bastion will not submit. Humanity will not submit. Our ships will not submit until every last individual responsible for these atrocities is brought to justice, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many of these aliens stand in our way. Justice will be served. Let it be known throughout the cosmos, humanity will never submit. The impact of this speech echoed through the Milky Way for centuries. Humanity, once a loose union of independent planets, became a united entity dedicated to the protection of all mankind. The CAG Imperium resisted fiercely, unleashing thousands of the galaxy's mightiest ships to rampage through human space for decades. But in the end, they succumbed to death by 1 million cuts. Humanity could lose billions of people, thousands of ships, and dozens of systems, yet the resource drain was too much for the CAG Imperium to bear. Loyal vassals rebelled, turning the Imperium's fleet against itself. Internal dissent wreaked havoc on the Emperor's control, leading many worlds to declare independence. Meanwhile, humanity grew stronger, reverse engineering CAG technology and using it to destroy the last remaining CAG battle groups in human space. Primus Randus the Eager could only watch in horror as the ancients of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Perseus, now allied with humanity, stormed his crown system. His once revered fleets, bound by their code of honor, were mowed down like grass. As a human strike team infiltrated his palace and dragged him off his throne in chains, Randus stared at the murals of past emperors, wondering if he would be the last. During his trial, he asked the now old and decrepit Julian Starman, "Why didn't you just submit like all the others?" Starman's response was simple: submission is the acceptance of defeat. As long as even one human remains alive in this galaxy, the light at the end of our tunnel will never go out. Humanity will never accept defeat, and if humanity remains undefeated, humanity shall never submit. Randus, now known as the Shameful, spent the rest of his days in a prison-orbiting bastion, watching the ever-growing lights on the planet below, slowly accepting that his reign was over. The era of humanity had begun, and he was but a footnote in the history of their rise to the stars. The rise of humanity marked a turning point in the history of the Milky Way. The remnants of the CAG Imperium, once feared across the galaxy, became a shadow of their former glory. The human-led coalition, consisting of the former vassals and allies of the Imperium, forged a new era of interstellar governance. The United Galactic Federation, spearheaded by the United Nations of Man, was established to ensure that no single power could ever dominate the galaxy as the CAG had attempted. This federation was built on principles of mutual respect, cooperation, and the recognition of each species' sovereignty, a stark contrast to the ruthless expansionism that had characterized the CAG Imperium. The CAG territories, now fractured and leaderless, faced internal strife and rebellion. Many worlds, long suppressed under the heavy hand of the Imperium, seized the opportunity to declare independence. These newly freed planets, scarred by years of subjugation, sought protection and guidance from the United Galactic Federation. Humanity, despite its newfound power, extended a hand of assistance rather than oppression, helping to rebuild these worlds and integrate them into the new galactic order. The scars of war, however, ran deep, and it took generations for the wounds inflicted by the CAG Imperium to fully heal. And as humanity's influence spread, so did its culture and technology. The knowledge gained from reverse engineering CAG technology propelled human advancement to unprecedented levels. Space travel became more efficient, and new frontiers were explored. The once fragmented human colonies, now united under a single banner, worked together to expand their reach beyond the Milky Way. Exploration fleets were dispatched to neighboring galaxies with the hope of finding new allies and resources. The resilience and tenacity that had carried humanity through the darkest days of the war now drove them to seek out new opportunities in the vastness of space. Yet, with great power came great responsibility. The leaders of the United Galactic Federation, including the aging Julian Starman, understood the dangers of unchecked power. They implemented strict checks and balances within the Federation's governing body, ensuring that no single species, not even humanity, could dominate the others. The Federation's charter enshrined the principles of peace, cooperation, and the protection of all sentient life. It was a bold experiment in governance, one that had never been attempted on such a grand scale. However, not all were content with the new order. In the far reaches of the galaxy, remnants of the CAG loyalists plotted their revenge. These splinter factions, though weakened, still harbored a deep hatred for humanity and its allies. They saw the fall of the Imperium as a temporary setback, believing that the glory of the CAG could be restored. Secretly, they began to rebuild their forces, gathering resources from the outer edges of the galaxy, far from the watchful eyes of the Federation. These CAG loyalists, now operating as a decentralized network of warlords and insurgents, waged a guerrilla war against the Federation, launching surprise attacks on vulnerable outposts and trade routes. Despite these challenges, the Federation stood strong, its resolve unshaken. The lessons learned during the CAG-Human War were not forgotten. Humanity and its allies remained vigilant, constantly improving their defenses and strategies to counter the ever-present threat of CAG resurgence. Special task forces were created to hunt down these insurgents, dismantling their operations piece by piece. The war had taught humanity the value of unity, and this unity was now their greatest strength. No longer would they be caught off guard by the tactics of their enemies. As the decades passed, the galaxy began to stabilize. The Federation's influence grew, and with it the hope of lasting peace. The once divided Milky Way was now a tapestry of diverse cultures, united by a common goal to prevent the rise of another tyrannical empire. The Federation's capital, located on the rebuilt world of Bastion, became a symbol of this new era. Once a site of unimaginable loss, Bastion was now a beacon of hope, its cities thriving, and its people living in peace. The scars of the past were not forgotten, but they served as a reminder of the price of freedom and the importance of vigilance. The galaxy, once ruled by fear, now looked to the future with optimism. Humanity, though humbled by the immense responsibility it bore, continued to lead by example. They shared their knowledge, their culture, and their spirit of resilience with the galaxy, ensuring that the light of freedom would never be extinguished. The era of the Kag Imperium had ended, but the story of the galaxy was far from over. New challenges, new alliances, and new adventures awaited in the vast expanse of space, and humanity, as ever, was ready to face them head-on. In the twilight of his life, Julian Starman reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. He had seen the rise and fall of empires, the devastation of war, and the triumph of unity. His legacy, and that of his people, was one of perseverance and unwavering resolve. As he gazed out at the stars from his residence on Bastion, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The light of humanity, which he had vowed to keep burning, now illuminated the entire galaxy. The future was uncertain, as it always was, but one thing was clear: humanity would never submit, and as long as they remained undefeated, the galaxy would never know the darkness of tyranny again. The story of the Kag Imperium and the rise of humanity would be told for generations to come, a testament to the power of resilience, unity, and the indomitable spirit of those who refused to surrender. In the annals of galactic history, it was not the mightiest fleet or the most powerful weapon that determined the outcome, but the courage and determination of those who fought for their freedom and their future. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. For every comment that says, we will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.